Parasite's Korean, yeah. Can't think of any fucking good Chinese movies apart from Ip Man. And they're not even that good. It's just good action.
A lot of Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah. China doesn't give a fuck about creative industry.
That's another thing. I thought
It doesn't encourage it.
Jackie Chan's so awesome, like respectful and all that, but why can't they be like?
What do you mean respectful? Haven't you read his biography?
I haven't.
He cheated on his wife like multiple fucking times while in America.
Yeah, he really set it into the American dream.
He spent 25% of his whole wealth at strip clubs and fucking whorehouses.
Damn, he looks like such a nice guy. Like his face is so nice. You wouldn't expect that.
You're really a baller.
But like, do you think that China is really, funding and encouraging the creative industries and
100%.
Hell no.
Hey, yo, man, and I bet Chris Tucker was with him all the way through it.
My Chris
Like
Tucker.
the
Welcome to the stream. Cripple O'Clock, as Garbage Baby says.
Would you be able to go to Woolies today?
Hang on a sec. Just had to check something. Okay. Let's get back into it. This is the right spot, right? Okay. I'm streaming a lot earlier in the day than I'm used to. It feels weird. I'm way more conscious of the fact that other people in the house are awake and might hear me. Today's art club meeting is currently on hold while everyone waits for Nomiya to show up. I take this time to try and explain my theory about Yamakuta Rin. What? Oh right, I've tried to figure out what exactly about the school feels so special to me, that concept I unsuccessfully tried to explain to Yuko the other day. It's still difficult, but the track meet and the time I've spent observing my fellow students have helped my ideas mature a little. Let's move the mic around a bit to a better spot. Okay. Alright. Have you noticed that people talk all the time? I can't really explain it, but once again, as I try to explain my observation, I'm struggling for words. Student body is heavily what? Clicked? I didn't know you could ED that word. And I'm only now beginning to make sense of the... Oh, intricate. Intricate? Intricate. Beginning to make sense of the intricate grouping and popularity networks. I don't think I've ever seen that word spelled out, but I do know that word. And yet, the feeling of being a part of a group is stronger here than I remember it being in my old school. I'm trying to say that this school isn't like other schools, or at least the students aren't, even after discounting the obvious. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what you mean. Oh well, whatever then. I want to pursue the issue, but at this point, Nomiya arrives. Teacher's wiping sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief and breathing rather heavily. Quickly glances over the room, then settles down a bit. Hello, apologies for being late. Is everyone present? Good. I must confess, I haven't really planned anything for today, as I've been extremely busy lately, and I'm sure we can come up with something entertaining. Anyone have any suggestions? I was thinking we could have a discussion circle, since we haven't had one in a while. I, at least, found the last one magnificently enjoyable. There are some murmurs here and there, but nobody raises their voice in support of or against Nomiya. We could delve into various movements of art, or does anyone have a good topic in mind? Come on, throw it out there. Doesn't matter if it's silly or odd, we can always cook up something interesting. Nobody seems to be brave enough to make a suggestion. As an awkward silence refuses to be broken, I lift my hand in the air. Oh, our newest friend seems to have something on his mind. Speak up, my boy, speak up. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I've always wondered why art exists in the first place. My voice trails off, a silence sets in the room, and nobody makes a follow-up on my meek suggestion. Then the teacher bursts in laughter. Oh, excellent. Very good indeed. Right out of the gate with the big one, huh? Fabulous. Chuckling, he shifts some papers around on his desk for a few moments. When he's done, he appears to have made some sort of decision. Very well then, let us run with this and see where it gets us, shall we? Oh my, even an old fogey like me gets excited when such delicious enthusiasm is present. Oh my, indeed. Let me gather my thoughts a moment so I can figure out a good starting point for everyone. For some reason, the teacher seems to be almost literally bursting with excitement. He scribbles a few things down on a loose sheet of paper, then cleans his glasses with the handkerchief. He strikes a pose, then freezes for an overly dramatic, artsy pause that spans what must be half a minute. It's so quiet I could hear a pin drop. First, let's come up with a few questions that we want answered, such as, what is art, and why does art exist? Anyone have any questions that might be related? Hate Nomiya. He's a bit annoying, but I kinda like his style. He's going all out. The boy with sunglasses pipes up almost immediately. His voice is soft and quiet, and I have a hard time making out what he says. Yeah, it's brainstorm time. Why does art exist? What defines an artist? After him, another question comes up. If I fill a cardboard box with water and call it art, is it art? Yes. I'd say. Everyone laughs at that, even the teacher. Great, wonderful, all of these. I actually have a lot of interesting opinions about art. Can I voice my opinion? Give me a choice game. I want to express my opinion about art. Let me start by saying that this is not a clear-cut issue by any means, and as such, I'm not going to give any answers to you. I'm only going to speak from my own perspective. Eira have opinions, yeah. I got opinions. Art is art. Everything's art if you can, well, everything you can create. There's an art to everything. Anything, well, not everything is art, but almost everything is art, and anything can be art. Scholars have argued that these sort of questions since time immemorial, and they have never really been a broadly applicable consensus reached. There are, however, some qualities that most tend to generally agree upon. Hopefully, we all should find these acceptable as well. In short, art defines itself. It simply cannot be contained to a definition from the outside, since the boundaries of art expand and contract from forces within. Every day, someone somewhere comes up with something completely outrageous that challenges any and all preconceptions. The core reason for this is that rather than the rational side of the mind, art appeals to the intuition, the instinct, the primal. You would find it very hard to explain why exactly it is that you enjoy some particular style or piece, no? He doesn't wait for a response before continuing. This is exactly why. So, art is this sort of wild, uncontrollable thing that lurks somewhere deep in our subconscious. Now, why does it exist? Nomiya apparently expects someone to pipe up with a guess, but as nobody dares to interrupt his inspired speech, he continues. It was a trick question, you see. Art also validates itself. Generally speaking, you might say that art exists for no other purpose than itself. It's something that exists merely to leave a mark in history. That's a fair point. That's why, well, it's not the only reason that I do art, but part of it is leaving a mark. It's the defiance of a mortal against the face of darkness, as was once said. Art is truly the proof of our existence. You all should know that human culture and civilization are tightly tied to the existence of art. Then, what about artists? What drives a man to dedicate his life to a thing so fickle and mysterious that it even defies definition? There are as many answers for this as there are artists, but if I had to put it into words, an artist doesn't make art because he can, but because he must. Nomiya takes a pause and his gaze sweeps over his audience, eyes flaring with passion. It is obvious that art touches the very soul of each and every human being in one way or another, so, if you were given a chance to connect with your fellow man in such a fundamental way, how could you not? There is a poem I'm very much fond of, and I shall recite the most well-known part of it now. I feel that, for me personally, of all possible things, it captures best the essence of what it means to be an artist. Nomiya leans against the desk as he clears his throat in preparation. Looking at some distant place, he utters the words in the heavy afternoon air with his soft basso voice. To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. There is a solemn and unbelievably awkward silence after he finishes reciting the short fragment. Nobody dares speak a word. Nomiya clears his throat again. To be an artist is to see the world in a grain of sand. You see, dear children, without art there would not be as much to live for in this world. It is a most profound thing. Literature club intensifies. Bring back poems. He's clearly touched by this notion. I almost expect to see a lone tear rolling down his rough cheek, but it never comes. I turn to Rin and whisper to her, "So how is this a discussion circle?" She shrugs nonchalantly back at me. The previous ones were the same. This is a load of barnacles. To his credit, Nomiya does try to get some debate going, but the club seems to be reluctant to comply. I feel a bit guilty about opening my mouth. Maybe we would have been spared from this. As the meeting comes to a close, I realize we haven't once touched any paint or pens today, and I feel somewhat disappointed. Nomiya suddenly appears next to us. He seems to be still fired up from the speech he delivered. His cologne smells musky and saturine at the same time, giving me an instant headache. Even though I'm not sensitive for perfumes, he is looking at Rin like a hungry wolf. Tezuka, do you remember Miss Sayonji, who visited us at the festival? I think so. I doubt she does. I'm going to tell you something amazing. The thing is, she's a very well-known gallerist around here. Turns out I might be able to get her to consider having some of your work put on display. Ends his sentence with a dramatic gesture. It seems like he's expecting Rin to show some sort of joyous, shocked reaction at such grand news. But she just stares at him blankly. Magnificent, isn't it? This could be a real chance for us to get ahead, girl. But Rin doesn't seem convinced. Now, I know what you're about to say. Yes, it wouldn't be a simple affair, but I think this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we even made it big. This could be the first step, and then, when the word is out, we strike while the iron is hot, right, Nakai? Yeah, it does sound pretty great, if you're into that kind of thing. See, we should definitely not let this one pass, am I right? I don't really... Rin seems to be troubled for some reason. I can't figure out why. Oh my god. What Nomiya is saying does indeed sound like a possibly great thing. She looks pretty down though, and confused. I've never seen her like this. So, what do you think? Rin looks up to her teacher's glowing face, then back down at her desk. I'll think about it. Nomiya is at last taken slightly aback by Rin's lack of suppletive delight. Then he smiles widely at her and gently pats her head. Good girl. Ugh, that's kind of creepy. The club meeting is finally over, and as I lazily collect my things and help clean up, I start feeling exhausted for some reason. There isn't much to do, however, so it's over quickly. I catch up to Rin, who left the club room just a moment earlier, so we're walking down the stairs to the ground floor while I try to go over Nomiya's passionate speech about art, and Rin seems to be lost in thought. Nomiya's a freak. Yeah, he's kind of weird. Kind of makes sense, though, for, like, I don't know, like a weird, eccentric art teacher. They're always like that in media. Not an unusual state for her, I've learned, but something about her expression makes me feel uneasy. Penny for your thoughts? Hey, he's using that again. That'd be too cheap. You're just overpricing your thoughts. I wouldn't be able to sell them anyway. I'm not sure what I'm thinking yet. That'd be fraud too, like stealing a candy from a baby. That's theft and not fraud. I have to think about what I think. It's about what the teacher said, getting your work put on display and all that. She doesn't answer but stops in her track as we reach the lobby. The only people around, so it's very quiet. Footsteps echo from a few floors up as someone hurries along a hallway. I think I'm gonna go somewhere elsewhere. I think she really is troubled. One company? Can't promise much help with the thinking, but it's not like I have much else to do. And I'm supposed to do some light exercise. If you like. Rin leads me outside to the wall behind the dormitories. There is a small back gate there, made from the same wrought iron as the main gate. It leads to the shadowy woodland park behind the school. The gate is rusty, as if it hasn't seen much use. However, it sits open, so we pass through. It's not forbidden for students to leave the grounds, but somehow I feel a little uneasy. I'm gonna drink real quick. Gotta have moist vocal cords. A path leads deeper into the forest. What? Oh, tall zelkova and maple trees rustle in the wind, their canopies creating patches of chill air hanging in the places where the shadows fall. This is just a very generic forest path. The forest smells strongly of earth. I almost feel cold, even though the midsummer day is as hot as ever. Rin trudges ahead like a sleepwalker, sure-footed but with no apparent destination in mind. Her thoughts seem to be somewhere else. I follow a few steps behind, taking more care to watch where my feet land. The path follows the land uphill at a low angle, sometimes making little detours downhill before climbing back upward. Muted brown and grey trunks line the path on both sides, peppered with ferns and other undergrowth. After a little while, I start getting worried. The path is still wide and clear, so there's no chance of getting lost, but it doesn't look like we have any particular destination. There's nothing wrong with a bit of aimless wandering around, but I don't want to go so far that I get too tired to walk back. I'm starting to get a little winded and my legs feel heavy. I want to stop and get a chance to catch my breath and rest my legs, but Rin keeps on going. Where are we going? Or are we going anywhere at all? Worry tree. I see. So what exactly is the worry tree? It's just a tree, like this. She stops in front of a particularly large maple that might or might not be the worry tree. Its lush green leaves sway lightly in the breeze, blowing through the small clearing we entered. I guessed as much. There are people who believe that you must come to what? That you must come here to wallow in misery if you are miserable. Only by people, I mean me, and the tree isn't really called anything. So if you're miserable, you talk to a tree about it? No, what? You can't talk to trees? What do you think I am, crazy? No, I didn't mean it like that. Or maybe you talk to trees. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that you were crazy, even though you probably are if you talk to trees. I wouldn't recommend it in either case. People will think you are a weird person. No, just forget it. She looks mildly confused, for which I don't blame her at all. She tilts her head a little to the side, expression melting back to her usual one. Alright, I'm good at forgetting things. So why are we here? Are you miserable then? I can't read the expression she makes. I hate how bad I am at interpreting Rin's mood. She doesn't answer right away, as if she herself isn't quite certain of her own mood. The blank stare changes into a more difficult expression as she shuffles her weight around. Finally, coming to a conclusion, Rin shrugs her shoulders. I've grown to seriously dislike that gesture. It doesn't mean anything. Maybe I just feel like... What? Oh no. Maybe I just feel kind of like I'm sinking underwater. I don't know what I should do. I don't know where I should go, that's all. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I thought walking might help. Kind of like, if I go somewhere, I would know where I should go. I don't really know if it did. It really would have made sense if walking had helped to decide where to go. So you don't... What? My eyes are playing up or something. So you don't want to try to get an exhibition, or rather, you don't know if you do. Can't decide? Rin doesn't say anything for a while, arranging her thoughts in silence. The quiet is broken by bird song from somewhere in the treetops, followed by rustling leaves as the birds take flight. Maybe I'm not sure if I can have a thing like that. So far, I've only painted for myself. I don't think I could have my things on display the way I am now. This me couldn't do it. A reason sounds like a weak excuse. I make my trademark frown, but she doesn't notice it. I don't get it. The teacher certainly thinks she could. I don't think he'd suggested otherwise. Sounds like he's calling in favors for his friends, from his friends too. I know. He's really, what? Oh, he's really done a lot for me, but this might be too much. Becoming someone who can do it might be pretty hard. Maybe I couldn't do it at all. He can't do it for me, and if I let him try, I'd just sink deeper and deeper. Rin stands in front of the large maple and turns away from me. I want to close the few feet of distance between us and... I don't know. My irritation is suddenly gone, and I start feeling sympathetic to her. I know exactly how you feel. Well, maybe I don't, but still. I think I haven't felt like I was actually in control of my own life this whole year. I'm just helplessly going along with the flow. Like coming here to this school, I didn't really choose it myself, and I certainly didn't choose this time in my life to learn that I have this condition. He always pauses right before saying condition, which I guess is fine, but I don't know, it just is slightly obnoxious every time it happens. I still can't casually say the word without it. Oh, it just comments on it. I feel like every time I make a comment, the game then follows up with that same comment. It's like, yeah, it's exactly like being underwater. Like, I can't even breathe. Rin turns to face me again, a sad expression on her face. Is that why you look so sad all the time? I don't want to look sad like you. Do I look to you like you look to me? I don't look sad all the time. I just don't know what I should be feeling. What kind of face I should be making. Me neither. Do I look sad now? Not really. Well, you look like you always do, I think. But I'm sinking. I should try to float up like a rubber duck. Quack, quack, all yellow and creepy. Creepy? Rubber ducks aren't creepy. I know he's not fond of talking about it, but it's still just... I don't know. Whatever. It's whatever. I have to think for a few seconds about which direction I should pursue in this conversation. Then I realize that it doesn't matter. You think rubber ducks are creepy? See? The game always takes my comments right after I say them. This game's stealing my commentary. You don't? I think they look very creepy. Everything that has eyes but isn't alive is very disturbing, like rubber ducks and reflections in mirrors. Holy shit. The I've heard people say that before. Like, an idea of things that have eyes but aren't alive are just creepy, and it's like they're looking at you, but they can't because they're not alive. I personally don't find that creepy, but I do know that other people do. She plops down on the forest bed, leaning on the maple she named the worry tree. After wondering what to do for a minute, I sit down two free feet apart from her. The forest envelops us in its embrace, and its stillness falls upon the two of us. We sit there without speaking for a long while. I can literally feel the time passing. Patches of sunlight litter the small clearing in a pattern that echoes the maple canopies. One of them falls directly on me, warming me all the way to the bone. I wonder what I could do for myself and maybe for Rin. For now, I just keep watching her from this distance. Sometimes she cranes her neck all the way back, so much that it looks almost painful, and stares up at the small patch of sky, visible past the canopy of the worry tree. Sometimes she just stares blankly ahead, as if seeing something just beyond her reach. She keeps whispering to herself, but so quietly that I can't hear her, even though I'm sitting right next to her. I only see her lips moving, like she was in the middle of a distant dream. I realize that right now, I no longer feel any of the intense loneliness I feel at night, just before falling asleep. I might be more like Rin than I thought. I can either give up and stay submerged under the weight of all the crap in my life, or try to change myself for the better. Her decision is different, yet the same, and unlike her, I know for sure that I can't stay like this forever. I have to change. Why would I ever say I want to be more like Emmy? No, I'm not, I don't know though. Because you hate Rin. Goddamn choices. Why would... No, but... What would I actually say, though? I feel like... I'm thinking about it too much, and now I'm worried the right answer might be Emmy. Because I'm not even sure if... Well, first of all, if Rin would like me to say I'd like to be like Rin. But I feel like the game's pushing towards Emmy because Emmy's like more cheery and happy and that kind of stuff. And if for me to say I want to be more like Rin is like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I know I'm not saying it, but it's like the thought process that'll then affect what Hisao says, I imagine. Which will affect things, surely, so... At least a little. I'll just go with what I thought right at the start. Just go with that. I saved anyway. Rin could probably do it, even though she seems to doubt herself. I have no doubts about her strength. She could do it, even if she can't. It makes me feel a little bit better too, and I lean back against the tree, breathing out deeply as if for the first time in a long time. We stay that way in the small clearing until the angle of sun changes and the chilly shadows deepen. No longer warm is where we sit. We leave the forest, returning along the same path we took coming in. It doesn't seem like Rin has come to a decision. I wonder if it was a bad idea for me to come along. It's alright. I don't mind. I'm sure the trees and dirt and rocks don't mind either. Did you mind? No, not at all. I think it helped me too. When we walk back towards the dormitories, the sky is changing to a deep ultramarine. What? Ultramarine? The first summer stars twinkle softly from between spots in the canopy, barely visible like tiny fireflies. I become very self-conscious about Rin's pressure. Ultramarine. The fact that you said yep and then spelt it out with a space makes me feel like it's not or at least not said like that. I haven't thought much about girls since things fell apart with Iwanako. This is kind of the same situation as then, but to be honest, I don't think it really counts as much, not with Rin. And yet, it feels good walking next to her, even if it isn't anything more than this. At first, I think Rin agitated me quite a bit with her unpredictable behavior, but recently, I feel I haven't had to be on my toes so much. I've managed to let myself go a little. It makes me feel satisfied, even though ultimately, I think it's more thanks to Rin than myself. What is that? What? JPEG image? Ultramarine. Yeah, I know it's a color. I was just worried if I pronounced it wrong or not. Because it's one word, so saying ultramarine doesn't sound right. It just doesn't feel right. I've managed to let myself... I don't know if I read that or not. She seems to be disinterested in a huge number of things, but something in her makes me try harder than I normally would. It's not that I want to impress her. I think that truly impressing Rin would take near superhuman effort just because of how she is. Instead, it's because there is the relentless feeling inside of me that I shouldn't let Rin down. It's really weird. I wonder why I started thinking like that. I don't even know what sort of expectations she has about pretty much anything. So how could I let her down? Rin has this unassuming air around her, and she doesn't really talk about stuff very often. Even today's confession of her self-doubt caught me a little bit off guard. I feel like my throat's getting drier faster than normal. It's only been half an hour and I've drank way more than I usually have by now. I feel like I want to talk more with her. The realization suddenly dawns on me that Rin is basically the only person I talk to nowadays, apart from whatever I have to endure from Shizune, Misha, or Kenji. I feel slightly depressed. Is it because it's earlier? I don't know. Is it because it's not, I don't know, it's not hot or cold, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been talking every day now. In front of the dormitories, as if summoned by my dark thoughts, we run into Kenji himself. Feels very odd seeing him outside, breathing fresh outdoor air. At least it's already dusk. I partially expect Kenji would disintegrate upon direct exposure to the sun. Kenji himself seems very insecure as well, standing around looking like he's waiting for something, but doesn't know himself what it might be. Hey Kenji, what are you doing? Hello. Who are you? It's me, Hisao. I'm not sure if you know Tezuka from Class 3-4. From his face, I can see that not only he doesn't know Rin, he also can't see her from the short distance. Oh, sup dudes. Kenji sticks his hand enthusiastically forward, almost straight in Rin's stomach, and looks at his outstretched hand in confusion until Kenji clears his throat and retracts the hand. Oh, there's something almost cool that he manages to do with social awkwardness. It's not like I'm the most suave man on the planet, but I don't think I'll ever be able to even approach Kenji's level. Kenji, too suave. Kenji God, yep. I think I respect Kenji a little bit more. So you're waiting for someone? Leans closer and lowers his voice to an agitated whisper. I see his facial muscles twitching. Come on, man. You know I can't think about stuff here in public. They might be listening. I'm gonna have to go pick up some stuff from somewhere, and I don't want those snooping student council hags to get on my case. Also, I don't trust your friend. Nothing personal. Are you sure he's trustworthy? I briefly considered telling Kenji about Rin's gender, but as I might end up badly for one of both of them, I decided against it. Yeah, I'm sure. Turns from me to Rin, and I immediately get the feeling that I have to prevent them from talking to each other for with whatever means necessary. However, there is little I can do now apart from physical violence. In that case, would you be interested in knowing about the worst threat to mankind since they invented vegetarianism? What? Kenji, please. Sounds like a vacuum cleaner salesman. I thought it was Sunday. I see you're not in the know. Yeah, man. I'm talking about man-eating cows here. What? Very few people know what I know, so I'm not surprised. Man-eating cows. What? We can't talk here, but if you'd like a pamphlet, come to my room after curfew on Mondays and Wednesdays. He made pamphlets. Did he make them? Why does he have pamphlets about man-eating cows? Kenji, you mad lad. He suddenly reaches to his pocket and draws out a ballpoint pen and what looks like a convenience store receipt. Kenji furiously scribbles on the scrap of paper and then thrusts it towards Rin. Here's the password. Memorize it and then eradicate any trace of this document. Eat it, burn it, dissolve in acid, whatever. I take the receipt from Kenji as Rin is unable to do so and glance at it. It's indeed a receipt, apparently for 2 rice bowls and 5 boxes of matches. I hope he's not planning to burn anything down. On the other side is written just one word. Honey muffin. Screenshot it! Save it! It's very important password. Wait, did I just... Okay. Honey muffin. I show it to Rin too, but she shows no reaction. Thank you. Yo, Asao, you still in that club? The Club of Dark Arts? Fine art. Anyway, yeah, actually, just had a meeting today. Still got your wits about you? No shady mind tricks going on? Nothing personal, man, but I had to be on top of things. Can't get caught with my pants down. Speaking of which, you should really take showers a bit more. You gotta respect that personal space. Nothing personal. Kenji looks around as if he heard something, and then straightens his jacket. Okay, I gotta scoot now before it gets too late. Later, dudes. Good luck. Kenji takes off rapidly towards the main gate. Rin looks after him, frowning. We watch after Kenji's diminishing figure in silence. What's wrong with him? Technically speaking, I think he's legally blind. Oh, I see. That seems madness. Man-eating cows. I wonder if I can actually go and get that pamphlet. Probably not. I can immediately... Well, we're just jumping right in. I can immediately tell from the envelope that it's not about official matters of any sort. Someone actually wrote me an old-fashioned, handwritten paper letter. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age anyway? Yet, as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, there's definitely a letter lying on my desk. The classes for the day are over. Still feeling pretty full from the big lunch that I had unexpectedly eaten at the cafeteria. I returned to my dorm, planning on finishing my homework and probably skipping dinner, or at least just eating light. I feel like I need to eat less than I used to. Maybe I don't use that much energy now that I don't do much beyond reading. However, the letter on my desk has naturally caught my interest. It's the first piece of mail I've received here at Yamaku, so it feels special even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What caused me even more trepidation is the name of the sender, written neatly on the back of the envelope. Iwanako. Oh shit! I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from my old school since I transferred, and Iwanako is the last person I'd expect to want to write me a letter. The last time I saw Iwanako was terribly awkward, embarrassingly so. She came to my hospital room, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't look me in the eye when she closed the door. It might have been a natural end to a series of visits that were probably pretty painful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. Every time I didn't speak made the next time even harder. Wanako always had this aura of fragility around her, as if she'd shatter into pieces at the slightest disturbance. Initially, I think it might have been that delicacy that attracted me to her, but after what happened back then, it felt as if she really had shattered. She looked so sad that I didn't want to say anything that might upset her, and I never could figure out the right words to say. I told her that it wasn't her fault. She nodded, and I really think she understood that if it hadn't been that, then sooner or later something else would have made my heart give out. Yet she looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say. In the end, that might have hurt her even more. Whoa, that's pretty long. Carefully, I opened the envelope and drew out the folded letter from within. Oh, it's apparently not that long. Dear Sal, how are you? I fear you are well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our secondary year class got put together in Class 3-1 for the final year, so we are pretty comfortable right now from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. Oh, there's more, of course. The mood among the third years seems to be very anxious about the final exams. Even though they are so far away, the teachers are badgering us about it all the time. Even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year, would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but here he is, nagging everyone about studying for exams. I think things like this are the main reason why the mood among the third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've always fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think that we are already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first years seem so young, and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for the whole first trimester? That's what that was. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things I should have said about after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times when I visited you at the hospital made me worried about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seem to become more distant and disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened, I'm sure. But somehow, I got the feeling that you had given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe? I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I'm really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered. And most, even though I like you so much, at least now, finally, I can be more honest. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you to not give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I had just said something. I hope you've managed to get back on your feet on your own. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it also feels more final, somehow. I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't. Still, if you would like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. I'd very much love to hear about your new school and how you are doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako. After finishing reading the letter, I fold it like it was and place it on my desk. I don't know what to think of this. I feel empty and confused. Why now, after all this time? Just yesterday I decided that I can't let myself stay like this. That I'd try to get on top of my own life. Reading this letter just reminds me of what could have been. Of course, I wish that I didn't have to be here. I'd want to be in the same class with Iwanako again. Maybe we would talk every day now and go on dates. My life didn't go like that. I didn't really need to be reminded of this. Iwanako needed to write the letter for her own sake, and I'm glad for her that she could, but it would have been better if I hadn't read it. Of course she is right. I thought of the same thing yesterday. I had fallen into a pit of despair, and now have to try to climb out. I rip out a page from my notebook, and after a moment of thinking how to frame my words, write a short reply to Iwanako. I find it difficult to be really honest with her, but at least I try to appear somewhat convincing. I don't write her about Yamaku at all. I doubt she will write me again, but I don't feel at all sad about it. I forward my own letter to her, and as I have no envelope, set it next to Iwanako's. I'll mail it to her later. Then I lie back on the bed, looking at the monotone grey ceiling. A bird sings outside of my window, and a sudden gust of wind flutters my curtains. The summer afternoon feels still, as if time had stopped for a brief moment. I think about all the things I've lost and will never regain. Not the best thoughts to have before sleep. The sky. Thus the languid days of mid-June pass by. I mail my letters to Iwanako and receive no reply. Having decided to ditch the old me, I start observing my fellow students even closer than I did before, hoping to understand how other people cope with their own issues. I start seeing things I didn't before, and it makes me wonder if I've been wrong twice. Superficially, everyone is abnormally, yet so strikingly normal that it shocked me at first. I admired the way my new school mates turned my prejudice around just like that, simply by being themselves. Now that I've gotten used to it, I begin noticing other kinds of tones in the people surrounding me every day. There is this soft, numb sadness all around me. I can see the effort everyone has to make just to get through the day, and how it weighs on their shoulders like it weighs on mine. Even the brightest smile is just slightly subdued, every outburst of annoyance just slightly dampened. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. I try to think what it means, what I can learn from others. I wonder if deep down everyone is as lost as I am. Is there even one person in here who has truly found peace? I start to feel doubtful about myself once again. I can't decide whether these people are happy, unhappy, or if they're just learning to cope and now live in an unfeeling limbo like I did all spring. I escape from these feelings into the towering piles of books I carry in my room. From Yuko's Sanctuary... I carried in my room from Yuko's Sanctuary. After realizing that this will just shut me down even more, I start going to the art club room more often, usually whenever I can. Rin too seems to spend more time there than in her own classroom. I've often seen her totter towards the door at the very end of our corridor. That wooden door in the room behind it, smelling of paint and paper, seems to mean more to her than the rest of the world combined. She says she has special permission to use the room, which I don't doubt at all. I don't think Nomiya will deny Rin anything. He seems to dote on her like an uncle upon a favorite niece. The object of his affection, however, has no favorites. She says she appreciates the teacher a lot for going the extra mile for her sake, but even when she says that, her expression is the same as always. It's as if she was talking about a particularly unremarkable rock that she saw the other day. I can't really figure out their relationship. Rin doesn't seem to let anyone close. I don't think even Emmy could say she's crossed the gap that seems to separate Rin from the rest of the world. I don't understand it. She seems so indifferent, yet so passionate at the same time. Somewhere the school bell rings for the last call of the day. I realize I've been zoning out for who knows how long. Dazed, I sit up straighter, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. The pungent smells of linseed oil and turpentine mix in my nostrils as I draw a deep breath. I feel drowsy and lightheaded. It's already this late and a few club members left early, so it's just me, Rin, the teacher, and 2 other girls who are also about to leave. Hey. Okay. Rin is sitting to my right, slowly working on a painting while I'm idling the time away. I don't think she realizes I've been watching her the whole time. With a nimble move of her delicate ankle, she dips the brush into the crimson paint and presses it lightly onto the canvas. A stain spreads around as if the brush was bleeding. Her progress has slowed down to a crawl. By now I've learned that this is dangerous for her technique, as the paint must not be allowed to dry before she finishes. It occurs to me that I am literally watching paint dry, and yet somehow I'm not feeling bored, despite spacing out just now. Most of the time, the art club is very relaxed and free form, apart from times when Nomiya gets really excited about some technique or style he wants to teach us about. Everyone is free to pursue their own interests. Lacking one, I keep floating around without a direction. I try this and that, but nothing really leaves me with a deeper inspiration. Not to mention that I don't seem to have a special knack for anything. Well, I did get praised for my attempt at watercolors, and I felt pretty good about that myself, but that's it. Suppose it's to be expected. I joined the art club mostly on a whim after all. I'm thinking that maybe I should quit the club if it's gonna be this pointless. But there's nothing really wrong with pointlessness, and I can't exactly say I'm unhappy. Unsatisfied, maybe, but I've only got myself to blame for that. As the pair of girls exit the club room with a cheerful bye-bye, Nomiya stands up from his desk. His chair scoots back with a loud screech that breaks the harmony of this quiet afternoon. He taps a pile of papers in his hands twice against the tabletop in order to straighten them, then stretches his back. I have a faculty meeting to attend, so I can't stay. I'll have to do some paperwork later, so if you want to stay, we can talk then. Sorry about this. There are two people here, but he's really talking to only one of us. Nomiya spends extra hours on his time mentoring Rin after official club hours are over, and I'll bet he'd like to discuss his plans on getting Rin's art into a gallery a little more. It's alright, I think I'll probably be here, but it's not a big deal if I'm not. I don't really have much going on. Rin answers without moving her eyes from her work in progress. The tone of her voice is neither the polite kind expected when talking to a teacher, nor her usual monotone. So, I won't need to send a search party if you aren't here? Yes, no thanks. I don't like to party. We can talk later. Good girl. Smiling, the teacher picks up the rest of his paper and makes his way back to the door. I glance at the clock above it, and then, And then at my watch to double check. They're 3 minutes apart, but nevertheless, the club meeting time is over now. I'm gonna drink. Water pouring ASMR. You like those water noises, Toast? Aw, I had 3 viewers and then I dropped to 2. Although I think it was only 3 for a short time. I think they popped in, heard me pour water, and then left. Water. Oh, they came, yeah, they came just for the water noise. They predicted I'd be pouring water, came in, and then satisfied with having heard the water pour, they left. Rin seems intent on staying here to work on her piece while waiting for the teacher. I can't quite imagine what their one-on-one time would be like. Would they actually discuss anything? Rin is always so subdued in what she says and what she does. And when she does say something, it's difficult to understand what she's talking about. Maybe Nomiya just talks endlessly like he does at art club meetings, letting Rin absorb what she will from his infinite well of art knowledge, like a sunflower turning to face the glowing sun. Do you mind if I stay? I thought maybe I'd give watercolors another try. Blurt out the excuse sort of accidentally, embarrassing myself. Rin doesn't take her eyes off her painting. Okay. Shift around in my chair, then get to fetching a cup of water, brushes, colors, and some paper. The sound of my footsteps invades the still afternoon air. Before starting, I try to recall what the teacher told us, an important philosophy of the medium working with watercolors. Working with watercolors means more working with water than working with color. Try to keep that in mind and dip my tiny sable brush into the water cup. I'm mixing yellow and blue, trying to capture the sunlit treetops outside of the window. The sun is low, so the yellows are more pronounced, and everything looks darker. I still can't. God damn it! Why do I keep slipping up my words? I still can't quite connect what I see with what my hand does with the paints, but it's a possible attempt for my level. After a while, I start losing my focus and move the paper aside, deciding to watch. Why? Deciding to watch Rin work for a while instead. That little while stretches first into a long while, then into a really long while. Rin paints, her entire being fully concentrated on the brush between her slender toes, and the painting coming to life one stroke at a time. She seems determined, and yet at the same time relaxed, effortlessly moving the brush around, never hesitating. Colors meet and part, mix and cover each other on the canvas, bending to a quiet will. I don't know anything about composition structures or any of that stuff, but I really like Rin's paintings. I like how she looks when she paints. As usual, the silence between us compels me to speak rather than merely wait for her to open up. She might end up saying nothing at all. Do you mind if we talk? I don't mind. I kinda wanted to ask more about why you got so weird about that thing the teacher wants to arrange for you. And picks up a tube of paint and squeezes it between so low on a palette almost as easily as someone with opposable thumbs would. How would you pick up a tub with your feet? Surely not. Taking up the brush again, she replies. A lot of things, and some not things. Unthings. I don't think that's the word. Do you want to talk about it? I try to reach out to her clumsily, ignoring the embarrassing feeling of awkwardness. Rin keeps her focus on the painting, spreading more and more paint on the canvas, her lips forming a perfectly straight line as she concentrates on the job. Not really. Talking is hard. I mean, it's not hard, I'm talking even now, but saying the right things is really hard for me. No matter what, I just can't say the things I want. That sounds weird. It's true, I say all kinds of things, but I say all kinds of things that I don't really mean all the time, and sometimes I forget words, and then I use the wrong words. I even come up with new words for things that already have some. That's the worst case. I get really nervous and everything comes out a mess, and even I don't really understand what I want to say. I think there's something wrong with me that makes it like this. Remember when I said I can only think of 4 things at the same time? I nod wordlessly. It's not really 4. I mean, it is 4, but everything else is also there, kind of in the background. Like being at an amusement park and a beehive at the same time. But that's not the point. It's the opposite. Oh no, wait, yeah. I used to do better, like 6 or 7 things. I think so, at least. I feel like I'm becoming dumber. I think everyone has times when they feel like they can't say the right things. But it's there all the time, stronger and deeper. Yeah, deeper is a good word. I like that word. Deeper. It's that feeling of being underwater. Maybe it's just art. The more I paint, the more words I forget. Maybe at some point I will forget how to speak completely. It feels like I'm slowly forgetting everything. Do you remember what you thought about things 3 or 4 years ago? I don't. A long pause ensues, during which time seems to bend around itself, almost tying itself into a knot. I don't think I've ever heard Rin talk this earnestly and for so long about anything before. It's like I'm fading away from the world. Rin's foot has stopped its work on the canvas and she's staring at her painting unmoving, as if gazing at some faraway horizon. Sunlight briefly glints in the corner of her onyx eyes. Something floats up into the top layer of Rin's being and she lets out a long breath. Then she blinks and it's gone. Paintings stay behind. When I look at my old things, I remember what I was thinking back when I made them. They make me feel like I can be with all the past mess when I was a different me. I guess they are the proof of my existence. She uses the exact same words Nomiya used when he spoke to us of the nature of art. I didn't think Rin was paying any attention back then. I wonder if she was listening, or whether she had heard the same passionate speech from Nomiya before. Either way, I feel overwhelmed. Boy, are you complicated. Would have taken up writing a diary. Her eyes quickly flicker to my direction, and then back to the painting, but she doesn't pick up the brush anymore. That's a great idea. Why didn't I ever think of that? You being sarcastic? What's sarcasm? I don't call her on the joke, if it is one. Right at that moment, Nomiya returns from the meeting. He waves to us in a very melodramatic hello. Mildly surprised to see me here, along with his pet student, walking with a boisterous gait to his desk. He drops his paper upon it. He picks up a handkerchief and cleans his glasses with incredibly meticulous care before walking over to us. Before he is within earshot of us, Rin says something to me in a quick, quiet voice. Change is the scariest thing in the world to me. And I seriously don't know if I want to change into a person who could do the thing the teacher wants me to do. I don't know if I could, even if I wanted to. This is deaf? What? Hello again. Hello. What's going on? He smells a bit sheepishly, looking at both of us with uninhibited interest. Nothing. We were just talking about that thing with your acquaintance in the gallery for Rin's work. Sort of. Oh, any decisions? I look at Rin, who's trying to arrange the bullet expression on her face into something else. Anyway, I don't think I have much else to say, other than... what? Anyway, I don't think I have much else to say, other than that you should go for it. It isn't at all like... it isn't like you at all to hesitate like this. I think you'd be a big hit, because it would be exciting. Well, all of these are at least positive, but I'm definitely not going to say, because it would be exciting. Big hit. It isn't like you at all to hesitate like this. I think I'll go with the top one. It isn't like you. You told me that people should do things they can't just because they can. And now you're being all wishy-washy yourself about something this important. I don't think I want to talk about this. I'm going. Oh no, did I piss her off? Rin stands up and trots out of the room without anyone saying anything more. I'm sorry. I think I made her upset. Shit! God damn it. Haha, don't worry about it. She'll be fine, I'm sure. I'll talk to her later. Nomiyama looks at me over his circular pink glasses, smiling sympathetically. You made friends with her then, Nakai? Well, something like that, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. To be honest, I'm not really sure. It's more like me and Rin just tend to hang around each other regularly, talking or not about something that more often resembles some twisted mockery of philosophy rather than normal, everyday thing that friends chat about. Well, that's all good, isn't it? You're a new student, and we should be promoting integration into the school body and such. I can't remember all the buzzwords they spew at faculty and Yamaka Foundation meetings, but that's how it is. Tezuka isn't the most social person around these parts either. Yeah, that's definitely true. So she talked about my suggestion to you? Oh, no, not really. I think it's been more me pressing her to decide something. Maybe I shouldn't have. No, I'm sure it's fine. I'm too soft with her, even when I shouldn't. I don't really know how to handle Tezuka. She's so independent and willful. I wonder if this is what every old geezer of an art teacher who gets his hand on a young and fiery prodigy feels like. He chuckles ironically to himself a little bit, turning to face Rin's latest work, which she left drying on the easel. She departed so abruptly that I wonder if she considers it finally finished. So let's see the painting then. Leans in closer, peering at the canvas. Draws you in, doesn't it? That was weird. Nomiya stands back straight, his face a dreamy, nostalgic visage. Visage? I don't answer him, and he seems to be taking my agreement as a given. I sometimes stay here after hours just to look at Tezuka's paintings. She's really just prodigious, and at such a young age. I get shivers just thinking of what she could become with a few more years of refinement. You asked what makes an artist, remember? This is it. You take a piece of the world and reshape it in their own image. Metaphorically, of course. Prodigious. Like Digimon. Looking at her makes you wonder what the world looks like through her eyes. It's a wonderful thing to be young and full of passion. The most extraordinary time of your life. You would do well to remember that, Nikai. Yes, sir. It's so silly. People always ask artists, where do you get your ideas? As if ideas were something sold at a market for pocket change. You can't explain inspiration. For people like Tezuka, it's like breathing. It's an instinct. I've met maybe one or two with the same kind of raw potential, but no amount of potential will amount to anything if one doesn't want to realize it. It's practice, technique, skill. Draw for an hour every day for a few years, and even the most hopeless cases become a passionate possible artist. Tezuka is not brilliant because she was born with a natural talent for this kind of thing. She's brilliant because she works harder than anyone, ever since she learned to hold a pen, most likely. And all of it with her feet, no less. Absolutely phenomenal. Silence finally lands in the club room as Nomiya lets himself get drawn back into Rin's painting, gently murmuring acceptance towards the still wet canvas. What kind of things do you paint yourself? As if waking from a reverie, he looks at me, surprised at my talking to him. Oh, I don't. Not anymore. I became an art teacher only after my career in that field came to an end. Now I just pass on knowledge to the next generation. The way Nomiya answers is curious, both giving and withholding information. I feel like asking more, but he cuts in before I get the chance. And you should run along, my boy. It's almost dinner time, isn't it? Yes, sir. Have a good evening. You too. I quickly collect my stuff and step out into the deserted hallway, leaving the teacher alone with his musings. The weekend will be here soon. It's amazing how fast time flies here. I promised Emmy I'd join her for celebration of her triumph at the track meet last week. That should be plenty of fun. Nope. Let me try something here. Oh man, it's getting kind of hot. Which is weird because it's 3 p.m. It's meant to get cooler, not hotter. You sure you want to go? The weather that has been wonderful for all of June has finally taken a turn for the worst. The leaden clouds drooping over the town look worrisome, and the air feels heavy and still, just like before rain. The forecast says there's a 60% chance of rain this afternoon. Maybe this will mark the beginning of the rainy season. Corona fever intensifies. No, probably not. I hope. Does the screen look more washed out than normal? Gray? Yeah. Oh, I guess it's because of the clouds covering the sky. Yeah, the overcast. Right. I'm an idiot. It almost made me feel like it was meant to be a flashback, but I'm like, at the school, so... Of course I'm sure. I've been waiting for this all week. I mean, had planned to... Came at a $0 budget. Yeah, obviously. I wasn't sure if it was, just my eyes playing tricks on me or not, and then I realized, oh right, overcast. And we had planned a picnic at some nearby park with snacks aplenty brought from the convenience store. But with the weather this gloomy, it seems risky. Also, wasn't there a Kickstarter? Or am I just thinking that because every game has a Kickstarter now? I totally thought there was one, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought it got one after the alpha came out. I asked some other people to come too, but they didn't want to go because of the weather. We have to prove them wrong. Wrong how? You know, like how it always rains when you think it won't. When you think it will, it doesn't. We'll go no matter what, so it's a win-win situation. I've been going without sweets for weeks because of practice for the track meet, but now I can splurge on anything I want. Nothing is going to stop me now. What you were all about, a healthy lifestyle and stuff. Oh, Hasao, you understand so little. There's not a single girl on this planet who doesn't love sweets. The art books had a Kickstarter. Oh, okay. I don't like sweets. Hey, Rinnin. She doesn't count. Anyway, is this clear? Completely. We'll go and eat our fill of sweets. Damn straight we will. Yeah, I get it. I'm gonna have to work it off later, but it's so worth it. Emmy seems to be, fellas, I just love Rin. Yeah, Rin's pretty great. Emmy seems to be extremely determined about this. She's positively exhilarated, brimming with energy as always. But something seems special today. It looks like she can hardly stop herself from jumping up and down on the spot. Come on. I grasp the wooden handle of the umbrella I bought and start to follow the two girls, who seem to have no qualms about leaving me behind if I keep daydreaming. My umbrella is really fancy, the old-fashioned kind, with a curved handle and a metal spike at the end. It used to belong to my grandfather. It looks like an antique, but it's in really good shape, almost as good as new. That's a really good umbrella to last that long. Most umbrellas break if you just take them out in one storm. It's really big too. I remember how my grandfather, my grandmother, and I all fit underneath it when a rainstorm caught us on an afternoon walk years ago, when I was around 9 or 10. My grandparents are both gone now, but I still have the umbrella to keep me dry when it rains. That's kind of sweet. That's because it's like a protective sort of thing. That's like a nice thing to kind of have left behind. We walk along the road leading down from the school towards the convenience store, the clouds casting their dark shadow down on us. The weather seems to be taking a turn for the worst, and I am pretty sure I just felt a raindrop on my head. Didn't you guys think of taking umbrellas? It really looks like it'll rain. And Rin looks at her limply hanging sleeves and shrugs her shoulders. I don't have one. Besides, a little rain won't kill us. She pushes her chest out, looking very confident about that. We weren't made of, what? Oh, we aren't made of sugar. I thought that's exactly what girls were made of, especially considering what you're planning to gorge yourself on today. Just sticks out her tongue in reply. Bleep. The walk down from the school to the local shopping district is not a long one, but it's not very short either. It's all downhill, so our steps roll easily, but time stretches out nevertheless. The distance is right there, in that grey area where you don't expect the trip to be... what? Distance is right there, in that grey area where you don't expect the trip to be quickly over with, but you aren't preparing for a long walk either. Thus, the trip is slightly too long to stay comfortably quiet the whole time, though the girls don't seem to mind. Rin walks calmly ahead, seemingly lost in thought, kind of wary about starting a conversation since the last time didn't end very well for either of us. I haven't exchanged a single word with her since then. Emmy, on the other hand, is way too happy about just walking. She seems to literally jump a little on every step, or skip over cracks, or bounce on the edge of the sidewalk. Every now and then she comments on something, to which Rin replies in an automatic-sounding, nonsensical way that makes Emmy giggle a little. Balance on the edge of the sidewalk. Can you do... Maybe they're just... prosthetic legs are more advanced than I thought, but I feel like... I don't know, I feel like it'd be really hard to balance. I'm sure you'd get used to it, but it's like, you don't even really control the bottom. I guess you do, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be really hard to do something like balancing on the edge of something. As we reach the bottom of the hill, the first raindrops begin to fall. They're a single piece, not jointed. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that make it hard to, like... Because you only control, like, down at just below... She only has, like, just below her knees. Yeah, I don't know. I also don't know, but I feel like it would make it hard to balance on something like that. As we reach the bottom of the hill, the first raindrops begin to fall. No one really care for her. The first raindrops begin to fall. I feel one hit the top of my head, then two more hit my nose in quick succession. Whoa! It's not one or two rain clouds anymore. The entire sky has turned shadowy grey. Billowing rain clouds swirling right on top of us. Oh shoot, I guess we aren't gonna have a picnic then. What now? Maybe we could have a rain picnic. A picnic in the rain. No, we'd all just catch a cold, and I don't like getting me or my snacks wet. I kinda like it, not the snacks part though. Amy considers our problematic situation for a moment while I open my umbrella and lift it up, trying to hold it so that all three of us get covered. Hey, Sal, have you been to the Shanghai yet? It's a cafe somewhere around here, right? I've heard of it. Alright, because in this timeline, the I Don't Die timeline, I didn't go there. Although I went there in my first playthrough. Let's go there and wait out the rain. If it's just a really quick shower, we can still go for a picnic, and if it gets worse, we'll just order cake there instead. Neither Rin nor I have better ideas, so with Emmy taking the lead, we start walking briskly along a side street. The cafe is only a few blocks away, but even with the umbrella, we can't avoid getting slightly damp. The rain keeps coming down harder and harder. Raindrops leave tiny droplets on the black asphalt road, which then combine with bigger patches into... What? Pointillist artwork being made in front of our eyes in mere seconds. It's pouring heavily, drumming on the hoods of the cars, parking on the sides of the street, already flowing in little creeks along the sidewalks. The yellow light shining through the rainwater streaming down the windows looks very warm and inviting. I shake the excess of water off the umbrella and head inside with them, following Emmy to a vacant table in the furthest corner of the small cafe. Oh. Hold up. Yeah. Huh. I shake the excess water off the umbrella and head inside with them, following Emmy to... Oh wait, I already read that. place is almost full. Apparently other people had the same idea as Emmy, and now we are all stranded together here in this cozy little place. Varnished wooden pillars and paper screens mixed with Parisian-style tables and chairs in discount harmony. A contrast of old and new. Light jazz plays quietly in the background, though it's mostly drowned out by the murmur of the customers. This is quite jazzy. There's only one waitress serving, the full house, frantically gliding from one table to another and trying to keep up with everything. To my surprise, I think I recognize her. Yeah, it's Yuko. I watch her deliver a tray of teacups and pastries to another table taken by Yamaku students, then take an order from a middle-aged couple sitting across from us before finally turning to serve us. Yuko? I love her outfit here, the way it looks. You like jazz? she's such the best girl. Why can't I date her? I wish I could. Look how adorable she is, and she got the things in her hair and this really cute frilly apron showing off her shoulders. God damn it, Yuko. Now that she's close and facing me, I see that it really is her. Part-time librarian of Yamaku is full waitress attire. It's a pretty cute outfit. Hell yeah, it is. She's tied her hair up in buns to match. God damn it. She's so cute. It's a completely different image from her moosey, plain style at her other job. Yuko blinks a few times looking confused, then remember that she was about to say something. Welcome to the Shanghai. So you work here too? I thought you were a university student or something. Yes, that too. It's a part-time job, as you can see. It's Sunday, so there aren't any lectures. Good thing too, since today has been so busy, I'm wishing for another pair of hands. Anyway, I'm in a bit of a rush, as you can see. What can I get you today? Amy doesn't hesitate even for a second. Her eyes glitter like those of a kid in a candy store. Tea for everyone, and cake for me. Yuko tries to stay as formal and professional looking as possible, smiling cheerily at my ravenous company. Yes, today we have a choice of strawberry shortcake, raspberry layer cake, or I don't know how to say that word, pie. I know that word, I just don't know how to say it. Strawberry, no. Lemon, no. Actually, I'll take it both. She looks at me in challenge. I'll just take the pie. Nothing. Amy makes a face at Rin as though she had bitten into a lemon. She's clearly unhappy with her for not joining in. Oh, come on, Rin, that's not polite at all. Nothing, thank you. No, you silly. I meant that you should order something too. I'll take a straw then. My feet are all wet. Sorry? The drinking kind of straw. One, please. Yuko is obviously uncertain of what to think about this. She fiddles with her pen and stationery for a moment, looking like she's about to cry before deciding that we're finished ordering. Thank you very much. She bows down a little too deeply and scampers to safety behind the counter. After that ordeal is over with, I have a chance to relax a bit and take a better look at the surroundings. Almost every table is occupied by people happy to be out of the rain, thankfully sipping their tea while waiting to dry off. Fragments of grumbling about the lousy weather or discussions over recent homework carry from nearby tables to my ears. Each one overlaps the other, but all are covered by the sound of falling rain. I'm not sure. It said one viewer before, and it's just gone... For me it says 2, but I also know that the Twitch stats window is delayed compared to actual Twitch. I think Toast may be going in and out. I don't know, it was 1 before, but then he came back to talk about jazz. Twitch be bugging, yeah, he says as it switches to 1 viewer for me as well. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. That's weird. I hope it doesn't affect my Twitch stats. Because my stats are already, like, 2.7, I think? They're getting close to 3, but I rarely have I don't have more than 3 viewers enough for the average to be free yet. And the average needs to get to free for me to get to like the next thingy or whatever. After a while, Yuko returns to our table carrying a tray with a huge teapot, 3 cups, a slice of cake, and 2 slices of pie. It's just shaking. She slaps the tray onto our tiny table with a clatter, almost sending the teapot toppling over in Narin's lap. We barely recover before she bows again and leaves, hurrying off to serve other customers. What? God damn it, Google Chrome. Trending on r/Katawa Shoujo. Yeah, thanks Google notifications and Reddit notifications, even though I've never been on the Katawa Shoujo subreddit. Thanks for spying on me and using my data to try and advertise to my interests. She slaps the tray onto our tiny table with a clatter, almost sending the teapot toppling over. Blah 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 blah. Bows again and leaves, hurrying off to serve other customers. Emmy has been eyeing her strawberry cake very hungrily all this time, but somehow she managed to contain herself until Yuko was out of sight. She digs in with gusto while I content myself with pouring tea for everyone and placing the straw in Rin's cup. And looks at the way the tea swirls around and round in her white china cup, her eyes half closed, almost like she's being hypnotized. Pick up my fork and eye the food in front of me. The pie I got looks perfectly done. A thick layer of... Is that margarine? Maybe. On top of creamy lemon custard. After having the first bite, I pause, savoring the combination of tangy citrus and smooth, sugary margarine. I'm just gonna assume it's margarine. It's quite good, though a bit too sweet for me. Yeah, that looks way too sweet. If very good... She talks through a mouthful of cake, already halfway through a slice, even though it's not exactly small. That's definitely not margarine. Okay, well, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to pronounce it. If it comes up again, I'll look it up. Welcome back to another stream of learning words with Eira. That's all this is. Before I get to respond, she strikes out at my delicious pie, taking a piece of her fork and escapes with it. This is pretty good too. What are you doing? You have a slice of your own. Yeah, she got 2. Yeah, but if I started on that before finishing the cake, it'd be rude, don't you think? What the hell? Her insolence is outrageous, but the gentleman in me allows for no retaliation. I glare angrily at her, and she replies by sticking out her tongue impishly. Emmy is even more hyper than usual today, but I don't mind. It's good for her to let off some steam. I take another sip of the tea in my cup. It's good and hot, even though I don't usually care much for tea, and the atmosphere in the cafe is very relaxing. I don't mind spending the rest of the afternoon here, not even after Emmy orders her second piece of strawberry cake, and Rin spends most of the time staring fixedly at the rain streaming down from the heavens. Meringue? Oh, it's meringue? I know that word. I didn't know it was spelt like that. Jesus. That's how you spell meringue? What the hell, English? That's... Oh my god. It's like lingerie, where it's like actually spelled lingerie. It's like not spelled... Yeah. It's always the French. Yeah, everything French-based can suck in terms of writing. Fuck the French. I shouldn't be saying that. Steam might get angry at me. Steam Twitch. Okay. Isn't lingerie also French-based? Probably, because it also is spelled like shit. Even Yuko rolls her eyes at the third piece of cake, disappearing into Emmy's bottomless stomach just as quickly as the previous 2. Oh, the rain. Despite the passing of time, it's still raining outside when we exit the Shanghai, though it seems to be letting up a little. Too bad it had to rain on your parade. Were we supposed to have a picnic? Amy doesn't look too distraught over the turn of events. Nah, that's fine. We have a good time, didn't we? I feel really pumped. Rainy day with Eira. It isn't even that hard anymore. I kinda wanna hike back to the school and get rid of the energy and work off some of that cake. But we're not doing that. Not again. I can't get the balance of the sound right when I whisper like that. I feel like I peak the mic too much. Delicious! She stretches her arms out and arcs her back like a cat after rolling her shoulders around twice as she smiles brightly. Man, I can't really run with these legs though, especially uphill. I should have bought my other ones. This notion sounds odd spoken so casually, but I guess for Emmy, changing legs is sort of like someone else changing shoes. If I walk really fast, then that'll be kinda like running. I think I'll do that. Wouldn't it be super dangerous to like try and go fast if it's wet or slippery out with prosthetic legs? Surely you wouldn't be able to correct yourself as well. I won't be able to keep up with that going uphill though. I really am in bad shape. Plus you'll get wet without an umbrella. Sadly, even a drizzle now. A few drops won't hurt. I think I'm gonna go to the track after I change my legs too. Emmy skips away from the protection of my umbrella and goes on ahead at a brisk pace. Suddenly, she seems to remember something as she stops and spins around. See you tomorrow. Come eat lunch with us on the roof and I'll bring enough for free. Why did I add an and? Rin and I are left to watch her wave at us and skip off again. Soon she disappears around a street corner. I'll never understand why Emmy is perpetually in such a hurry to get somewhere. So would you like me to walk you back to school so that at least one of you won't get wet? If you are happy with it. Seems neither of us wants to keep alive the strange atmosphere from the argument a few days ago in the art room, which makes me feel relieved. I don't want to bear grudges, and I'm happy that Ren feels the same way. Thus it is decided that we are content with each other's company for now, and we start walking in the same direction as Emmy, albeit at a considerably calmer pace. Hey! Look at that. Walking together in the rain under the same umbrella. Not really close though. I get a bit closer to Rin, even the umbrella is already big enough to shelter us both. I can feel her nearby warmth providing a contrast to the chill of this rainy weather. That rain is like really, really sideways, way more than normal rain. Raindrops hitting the umbrella make a distinctive sound, playing the, what? Staccato melody of rainfall for nobody in particular. Just B. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Toast? B. Maybe you didn't mean to send anything. I realize I haven't been outside in the rain in what feels like forever. I inhale, taking in the scent of rain, feeling the weather with all my senses. The world melts into a blur inside the rain. The colors of the sky have deepened from grey to dark blue, with hues of red added in the mix from the sunlight reflecting off the clouds. The low-hanging sky looks pretty, as if I could reach out my hand and touch it. Have I told you how much I like... Bruh, you said A, so I said B. We learned the alphabet. That's what it was. Yeah, I totally missed that. It probably has something to do with the delay that I just completely forgot about me saying A. If I told you how much I like rain, it's like painting. It makes me feel connected. Most echoing my thoughts, Rin lets out one of her own. It slips out of her mouth, circling around us gently. Everything looks so soft, like the outlines of things just disappear. I like that. It's like the rain is hugging me. I get that. I also really like the rain. My voice sounds different from usual, more gentle now, and soft. I wonder if it's only because of the rain, or because of the mood the rain brought upon the quiet artist girl. I feel that mood in myself too, enhanced by her words. Yeah, I like rainy weather too. It's nice every once in a while. I wonder what it is about the rain. Everything? Silence follows the statement as it follows, as it allows for no continuation. I decided to push the direction of the conversation a little. But you know, if you look, what? But you know, if you like the feeling of being connected, what's the problem with showing your paintings to others? Don't you want to be connected to other people? It's not the same thing. You're comparing apples to squids. I brought up the subject Rin wants to avoid, and it shuts her down again. The question stays hanging between us for the rest of the trip back to school, and I can't help wondering what on earth I could have said to truly reach Rin. Does she feel that she's lacking an identity? She has a strong personality, but if pressed to elaborate, I'm not sure I could describe it accurately. She feels like a person who is in constant conflict with herself. I never know what to expect when I talk to her. I wonder how she herself experiences that disconnect. If Rin is asking herself every day, who am I, and obsessively paints images to define herself day after day, what does she think of that way of living? The irony is, that's the exact same question I've been asking myself for the past 4 or 5 months. For me, it was miserable. I can only assume that it's the natural state of being for this girl. When we stop in front of the dormitories, Rin turns to face me as if sensing my thoughts from afar. Her gaze travels emptily past my left shoulder into the shapeless rainfall. Her dark eyes seem to suck... What? Her dark eyes seem to suck the low ambient light into themselves like a reverse mirror. The empty gaze lets nothing out. If I want to understand what's going on behind those eyes, I have to work it out myself. Rin opens her mouth, then closes it without saying anything. The silence lasts for a few more moments before she takes a step towards the dorm building door. See you tomorrow. The next morning, like every second Monday morning until he says otherwise, I have an appointment with the nurse. They allow me to skip part of my first class in the morning, and I don't feel any shame in skipping the rest either. Rather than being thankful, I get to miss world history. I instead feel dread when I think about these appointments. I wake up at the normal time anyway and wash myself in the bathroom I share with Kenji, tidying my sleep-shelved hair. I quickly get dressed and put my laundry in the basket. I pack up for the school day. I have all my homework done, like usual, so I have a bit of free time now. There's no point in going to the morning class for 20 minutes before I have to go to the nurse's office, so I lie down on my bed and read a book until it's time to go. The door to the nurse's office is open, which is unusual. I enter by knocking to announce my arrival. Looking up from his computer screen, he motions me to take a seat with a friendly hello. Oh, are we gonna get the good music? Steam wafts up from the piping hot cup of coffee on his desk. It's probably not his first today. Is this the good music? It is, right? Yeah, it is. Hell yeah. God, I fucking love this music. Alright, let's keep reading. How are you feeling on this wonderful morning, Sal? Nursing jazz, hell yeah. It's alright, I think. It was cold yesterday because of the rain, so I woke up feeling a bit groggy. Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. You two, quite a few kids got caught without an umbrella, so we've been spending time handing out masks and curing sniffles, Alright, today it's test day. Give me your arm. I extend my left arm towards him, keeping my face expressionless. The nurse ties a rubber tourniquet? What? Alright. Around my bicep with a practiced movement and briskly goes about his business. I don't think anyone really likes getting stuck with needles, but at least I get over my distaste for them. I have to. I barely even twitch at the moment of truth. Once that's done, a blood pressure check follows. Then there are checklists and questionnaires to go through. The nurse nods and scribbles in my answers to the questions as I give them. Alright, let's have a listen now. I unbutton my shirt and put it neatly on the back of the chair I was using while he puts on his stethoscope. I know by heart the order of places where he's going to listen to my lungs and heartbeat. I adjust my breathing to be even and deep without even being asked. It's become a routine now for both of us. It's funny, this is pretty much the only time in one's life when you really concentrate on breathing and nothing else. It's always amused me. Yeah, I always get really self-conscious and like start breathing more normally whenever a doctor pulls out a stethoscope. I'm like, oh shit, you know, like really focus on it. The nurse lifts the cold steel stethoscope from my chest and places it a few inches lower, listening again. The contact of the metal makes me flinch and respects, even though I was expecting it. He furrows his brow, but I can't tell if it's because he's unhappy or if he's trying to pick something specific out among the complex multitude of irregularities in my heartbeat. Is there something wrong? Please don't talk. I shut up and become more anxious. The nurse is not, but I can't help disliking these mandatory checkups. I wonder if I'm going to end up hating all medical appointments from now on because of these. He finally lifts the circular metal plate from my chest, allowing me to talk again. Everything seems to be fine. You feeling alright yourself? I suppose. I was out yesterday when it was raining, and yeah, I really felt a bit under the weather in the morning. Maybe I caught a cold. With Emmy, she came down with a cold too. Of course she did. My people told her to stay in bed for a day or two. Really? I mean, I was with her, but I didn't know she got sick. I guess it was a dumb thing after all for her to go out in the rain like that. Yeah, well, let's put that aside. Everything seems to check out for you. But remember to be careful. Of course, I really don't want to go back to the hospital. Catches something, maybe repressed terror, I don't know, in my voice and glances up some papers he was looking at. Hey, don't worry. At this stage, it would take a huge crash in your condition to get you re-hospitalized. It doesn't really reassure me, but grumbling about it to him won't make any difference. I quietly take my leave. I-E-I-O-U. Walking along the corridor from the auxiliary building to the main school building, I encounter a young female nurse coming the other way. She smiles at me when we pass by each other. What a weird little extra thing to include. The lobby is empty of people, no surprise, since classes are still going on. I hear muffled sounds of discussion coming from behind the first floor classroom doors. Glance at my watch. I'd have to rush to get to my classroom in time, but I don't feel like going to class anyway, so I decide to climb up to the roof and have an extra long lunch break. Amy promised she'd bring something for me today, but if she's sick, that's probably not going to happen. I'm not feeling hungry anyway, so it's all the same. Climb up the steep stairwell of the to the roof. Climb up the steep stairwell to the roof is oddly liberating, almost like losing weight. I feel satisfaction that it doesn't wind me as badly as it did the first time I came up here. I push open the squeaky door at the top and step into sunlight. The chain link fence allows for a grand view over the treetops, all the way to the grey silhouettes of downtown further away. The dreary weather of yesterday is just a memory now. The silvery blue sky seems to be a mere arm's reach away. I forgot for a moment that I'm in a bad mood. The warmth of the sun soaks into my bones, making me drowsy and lazy instead. The bells ring for lunch break, startling me back into reality. Soon afterward, the quadrangle below me bursts into life. Students pour out of the doors, down on the ground floor, intent on enjoying lunch at the quad and the lush gardens in this perfect weather. How did quad and calling it a quadrangle just become such a dumb thing I want to say every time I see it? When I hear the door to the stairwell being pushed open, I don't bother turning to see who it is. The intruder starts coming towards me with uneven footsteps. The little river stones the roof is covered with rattle and crunch underfoot. The footsteps stop a few feet behind me, followed by silence. I look upward into the glooming eye of the sun, absorbing its warmth with my whole body. What are you doing? I turn around out of courtesy at her first words to behold the slim, awkward figure of Rin Tezuka. She looks very much like herself today too. Her hair is maybe a tad messier than usual, as if she just got out of bed. She stands with her weight shifted onto one foot, looking at me with mild curiosity, as if I was something in a store's display window. I don't know, just spacing out, I guess. What about you? Emmy promised food. We usually eat here. Afraid you're gonna be disappointed. I heard Emmy came down with a cold. Oh, I guess that makes sense. She wasn't in class. Aren't you her roommate? They're roommates. Doesn't she help you get your shirts on in the morning and stuff? Wouldn't she then... Shouldn't Rin know that she has a cold? Oh, they're across the hall? Same dorm block. Oh, like Kennedy. Okay, I thought they were... They, didn't make that clear. I'm pretty sure before they just said roommates. Like, whatever. That does make sense though. But still, wouldn't Rin need help to get dressed? And then Amy would have been like, I'm sick. And helped her, but then still, have been like, sick. Whatever. It's not that common to get a cold in June though. You don't think she went running on the track afterwards like she said. The rain just kept going. Probably. Oh, really? In the rain? In the rain. Sounds like a bit too much for just keeping up with training regimen. Emmy is a hard-headed one, though, so I can see her running in the downpour just because she had to. Well, that's obviously overdoing it. Probably why she came down with the cold, too. But I guess it's kind of cool. Speaking of that, I'm not feeling well either. Oh. Rin sneezes pretty hard, failing to stop it in time. She cranes her head down to wipe her nose on her shoulders. So deciding that would be too unladylike, I pull out my handkerchief and hold it to her nose. Yeah, bless you. Thanks. Thanks. I guess it's like that, I don't know. Thanks? I feel like... She clears her nose and I dab the handkerchief gently on it, wiping it clean. Her nose is really cute. Oddly enough, it's probably the girliest part of Rin's face. I think I'm blushing a little, but Rin doesn't notice. Thanks. I think I might be coming up or down or something too, like I was saying. Hope not. Rin doesn't seem to be too bothered about eating, so despite the lack of any provided lunch, we stay up on the rooftop. She comes over and stands next to me, right up against the fence, looking in the same, abstract distant that I am. Nobody else seems to be coming around to intrude upon this calmness. Either it's quiet and peaceful. What does one do on a lunch break if not eat? Well, you see, I personally would stand with two people near a chapel and talk. True. That makes sense, I guess. Andy, I mean, yeah, we would eat. But then, if he's saying what to do if not eat, then once I was done, or if I wouldn't eat, I say I'm still gonna stand there and just talk with people. Over by the chapel. Sometimes free people. Free people if Raymu decides to show up. Turns out that between the two of us, we don't really know. Fortunately, passing time is an activity that manages itself just fine. Even though there's no conversation to fill the silence between the passing seconds, no pointless activities like cloud gazing to spend upon the minutes between now and then, time marches on relentlessly. I keep checking the time on my watch, then decide it's a dumb thing to do. Instead, I try to hold out for as long as possible before I check it again. Maybe I can hold out for 6 or 7 minutes. Rin remains silent, idly looking at the cerulean expanse above us. I wonder why, more often than now, we don't speak much. She said that she doesn't really like speaking because of her perceived difficulties with expressing herself properly. As for me, I think I just got sucked into the habit at the hospital, where I spent such a long stretch of time never really talking to anyone. Most of the time, I feel comfortable about this quiet mood, and even when I get the feeling that I have to break the silence, it's also difficult to come up with something to talk about when it's with Rin. She and I are on such different wavelengths that nothing seems to be on common grounds. What is it that you like about the sky so much? She turns to me, her eyes dark and serious. Sky is the only thing that is perfect. I know it. You could say I'm an expert of sky if you wanted. And I am, even if you didn't want to, a sky expert. It's always different, but it's always perfect, also when it's different. I follow her gaze up into the boundless blue expanse, thinking of her words. If you ever wanted to be something different, it wouldn't be so bad to be the sky. No, I mean someone else, someone different. To go to a normal school like everyone else, not have to worry about stuff. What stuff? Try to find the right word for a moment, but can't manage to form a sentence that I'd be comfortable with actually using. Man, I don't really want to say it out loud. Try. I'm not so good at mind reading. Don't you ever want to not be disabled? She thinks about this and then shakes her head, frowning. That's a hard question. I don't know what to say. It's okay if you don't say anything. For some reason, I'm just so unsatisfied with who I am right now that I'm constantly thinking about stuff like that. It's pretty hard to admit, but there it is. Honestly, I feel relieved about finally saying it aloud to someone, even if it's just Rin. I think I want to be different sometimes. I've thought about changing myself lately, but it's a bit scary, like walking backwards with your eyes closed. The difficult part is to know where your toes are not pointing, directions. Even if I don't do anything, I would never stay the same. It's like my old paintings. They are different than when I paint now because I'm different. But they are still my paintings, so there's something same. That's really strange. I'm different every day, but I'm still me every day. Who am I then? Is this a riddle? If you want it to be, I don't know the right answer though, so you have to come up with it yourself. Well, it's the sky, isn't it? Going by your definition just now. I actually managed to surprise her by that. Maybe she'd already forgotten about it. That's right, but I was thinking about myself when I said that. Very strange. Could it be that I actually am the sky? I don't think that's possible. Your logic's a bit off somewhere. She looks down and shuts up, and I can see she's quickly going over the deduction mentally, seemingly unhappy with the result she finally arrives at. Yeah, maybe I'm not the sky. It makes sense. I have a hard time knowing what kind of person I am. You're not the only one. It's like my mind is in some other place than the rest of me. Underwater? Yeah, I wonder how it got there. I have no answer, so a brief silence falls between us for a moment. I shift my gaze back to the sky above us. Last time I really paid much attention to the sky was... I guess it must have been at the hospital. I could only see a thin strip of sky from the window of my room. If I walked up to the window and pressed my face against the cold glass, the strip became bigger, but not by much. The sky made me feel sad and lonely, a reminder of the world on the other side. I wonder if there's another world beyond the sky we see from up here on the school's roof as well. I can't stop comparing life at Yamaku to my hospitalization, but I really should. I'm not there anymore. What? The narrow sky from the window to my hospital room, the faces of the doctors, the faces of my parents, the off-white walls everywhere, Wanako's letter echoing the words she never said. They're things of the past now. I wish I could forget everything up until now, and that time would stop completely. There would be only me, Rin, and the sky, an eternal lunch break on this rooftop. perfect, unchanging, and forever. I'm not sure if I like or hate this school. I could have gone to a normal school if I wanted, but I chose to come here. Why? Just decided I would, kind of like melon or plum jelly. Do you think it was a good idea? I mean, there are a lot of good things about the school, but I think there are a few bad things also. I know. I kind of collect people because they are interesting. People here really are amazing, most of them, but not all. Some people can't take it. They hurt too much. It gets really bad sometimes, you know. They hurt. I wonder if you're like that too. I hope not. I don't like things like that. Hey, I'm not your case study, and I'm not going to give up and die or anything. Anyway, I meant more from this, what? I meant more that this place is too distant from the real world. What's the real world? Everything out there. Real people with normal everyday lives that fit together like a puzzle. You don't think we aren't like that? Real people? Maybe we aren't. Well, no, we are. I just meant that it feels more like we're the leftover pieces. Rin thinks for a while, her almond-shaped eyes narrowing as she bites her lip a little bit, like a child. Is it hard to be disabled? The question earns a dry chuckle from me. You tell me, you've been in this business a lot longer than I have. She thinks about that for another while. I don't really feel that disabled. I mean, I do pretty much everything differently, but it's not that hard. I can always practice. I started to practice food things this year. I think I'd want to learn to cook in a real kitchen someday. That's admirable, but I don't think it's just a state of mind. Maybe not to you. I have no good counter for that, so I concede by falling silent. The situation is making me more and more confused. I know what I want, but don't know how to reach it. Rin seems to believe she can simply will herself into the shape she thinks she needs to be. Can't decide whether she wants to be a bird or a butterfly. I think in the end, I'm not really happy with who I am either, but that doesn't mean I regret being who I am. That's the thing that's wrong with you, Sao. Whoa! I accidentally clicked off. I've only started to process that rather blunt statement before Rin suddenly hugs me. Whoa, hey! What are you doing? I've never been hugged by a girl with no arms before. To be honest, it doesn't really physically feel like a hug. The awkward way she presses her body against mine and the lack of embracing arms makes it feel like she fell on top of me. But the warmth of the real hug is still there, and that's how I recognize it for what it is. I'm hugging you, Hisao. I know that, but... is it wrong? I thought this is what you're supposed to do. I'm not really used to this kind of thing. The first time Emmy hugged me, I got surprised and kicked her in the stomach. I can kick pretty hard, so she hasn't been hugging me an awful lot after that. It's not wrong, it's just me. Things are a bit hard for me for the time being. I can't seem to react properly to anything. Really? So it is hard being disabled after all. I guess she has me cornered there. I don't have the energy to start arguing against it, but I feel like I have to get something out. Well, no, it's not hard. I think it's just me overthinking things. I really wish I didn't feel so sorry for myself all the time. I wonder if I always was this fragile, or if I became this way after my incident. Nothing has ever truly shaken my world like that before, so there's no telling. Rin presses her cheek against me lightly. I can feel the warmth of her body close against me. Her body temperature feels really high, as if she has absorbed the sunlight into herself and was now sharing it with me. Or perhaps it's a natural state for her. It's the most comforting thing I've felt in a long, long time. Wow, your heartbeat really does sound weird. It's like a drunken percussion orchestra. Please don't say stuff like that. I get very uncomfortable. I laugh at her comment anyway, in an attempt to ease the tension. It sounds a little bit too forced. Man, I'm sorry I'm such a mess. It's okay. It's the best part of you. Hearing that doesn't make me happy. She breaks off the hug and settles down. An awkward silence falls upon us like a blanket. Me feeling embarrassed about myself and Rin trying to arrange her expression to something she likes. One last time I glance upward. The rooftop is really great. It's like I'm just a little bit closer to the sky. I know a better place, but we can't go there on lunch breaks. I can take you there sometime if you want. The bells ring for the beginning of the afternoon classes, and Rin stands up to make her way downstairs. I don't hurry after her, deciding to stay up here just a little while longer. Thanks for the hug. Thanks for not kicking me. After Rin leaves, I finally let tears roll down my cheeks and cry for my condition for the first time and only time in my life. Then I cast away that hollow person lying on the hospital bed forever. And with that, we'll end the stream. Once again, 2 hours, and then I feel like my throat is way too sore. Well, not sore, but it's dry. So, thanks everyone who stopped by. Mainly just Toast and Garbage Baby. Good to see you again for a second time in a row, Garbage Baby. Glad you can make it both times. Playtime 501. Current scene indecision. Corona. It's not Corona. It's just dry because I have to talk so much. I'm talking like even way more than just normal streaming because I'm like constantly reading the visual novel. I'm all into Act 4, baby. Hell yeah. Hope you're enjoying Best Girl. It's pretty good so far. And yeah, the route's pretty enjoyable. This stream had some pretty good moments. Going with Rin to the Worry Tree was like a good development of her. And then Hasao really dealing with this dealing with his shit. Well, okay. I will probably once again stream again tomorrow. I know it's not realistic to stream like every day eventually, but for now might as well try while I can. So we'll see y'all hopefully tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the stream today. Hope to see you tomorrow.